When the Golden State Warriors rose to dominance a few years ago, they started a trend of small ball. In this video, I'm going to talk about one free agent signing that could break that small ball trend. Yo, what's up guys, it's Bones, and welcome to this brand new video. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and also make sure you have a wonderful day. Let's jump into the signing that I think could break the small ball trend that the NBA has been trending towards the past few years. Right now, there is one very exciting team in the NBA's Eastern Conference, one that has a lot of size and a lot of potential and is starting to perform after years of trusting the process. That is, of course, the Philadelphia 76ers, who have a young core of Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid. Embiid and Simmons are dominating the NBA right now, while Fultz is trying to recover from his bum shoulder, and hopefully he's able to do the same. The Philadelphia 76ers are off to a winning start to their season with a starting lineup of Ben Simmons, JJ Redick, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, and Joel Embiid. Now, when you have Ben Simmons, somebody who's 6'10", who can play point guard, you have a huge size advantage at that position. Their small forward Robert Covington is 6'9", so he's pretty big for that position as well. However, it doesn't quite create a mismatch across the board. Usually opposing teams put their point guards on JJ Redick, their shooting guards on Robert Covington, and their small forwards on Ben Simmons. So while Ben Simmons is considered a point guard, usually he's being guarded by small forwards. I'm going to talk about the one addition, the one player that the Philadelphia 76ers could add to their lineup in place of JJ Redick that would just create a huge mismatch across the board for the 76ers. This signing will make opposing teams wonder, who do I let my point guard guard? I don't have a big enough point guard to guard any of those players, so what do I do? The player that I'm talking about is rumored to be favoring one destination and one destination only, and that is his hometown team. See if you can guess it before I reveal his name. This is a dude who played shooting guard to start his career, grew an inch or two, and is now considered a small forward, but definitely has skills to play the shooting guard position. When this dude was 21 years old after his rookie season, it was rumored that he grew 2 inches during the summer before his second year in the NBA. He was therefore listed as 6'10" instead of 6'8", but is now listed as 6'9". So his actual real height is somewhat questionable, but he's legitimately a big wing. I'm talking about Paul George of the Oklahoma City Thunder, whose contract expires this year and is rumored to be favoring the Los Angeles Lakers. However, I think it makes more sense for Paul George to go back to the Eastern Conference, where he can actually contend for a finals appearance while being still a leader on a team. The Los Angeles Lakers, I don't think, are a good fit for Paul George, even if he was able to sign and they were able to bring in LeBron James as well. I don't think LeBron, Paul George, and Kyle Kuzma and Lonzo Ball is really enough to get you maybe even to the Western Conference Finals. The West is very tough, and I don't really like that team. I think if the Philadelphia 76ers were able to add Paul George, they would be better than a Laker team with Paul George and any other star. The real reason I want Paul George to sign with the Philadelphia 76ers this offseason is you could slot him in a shooting guard and have every player in their starting lineup 6'9" or taller. You'd have Ben Simmons at point guard, who's 6'10". You'd have Paul George at shooting guard, who's 6'9". Robert Covington at small forward, who's 6'9". Dario Saric at power forward, who's 6'10". And Joel Embiid at center, who was 7 foot when he came out of college, and it's been rumored that he's grown a couple inches since being in the NBA, so maybe he's 7'1". That lineup is absolutely huge, but not only is it a huge lineup, but it's also very skilled. Ben Simmons is a very skilled point guard. Paul George is, of course, a very skilled scorer and defender. Joel Embiid is quickly becoming one of the top 2-3 centers in the league. He might already be there. And then you got Dario Saric, which is the perfect power forward for today's NBA. He's a stretch four, can shoot, can pass the ball. And then Robert Covington, who is possibly the best 3-and-D wing in the NBA. You could definitely make the case for Klay Thompson, but he's more of a star to me. When I say 3-and-D, I'm thinking role player. And Robert Covington is the perfect definition of a great role player. So this would create all sorts of problems for the opposing team when the opposing team would be scouting for their upcoming matchup against the Paul George, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid-led Philadelphia 76ers. Let's just use my Portland Trail Blazers as an example. Their backcourt has Damian Lillard, who's 6'3", and CJ McCollum, who's 6'4". Who would you put Damian Lillard on? I guess you'd have to put him on Ben Simmons, but Ben Simmons has a 7-inch advantage. The Philadelphia 76ers could just stick Ben Simmons in the low post and he could score at will. Or if the Blazers decided to double him, which they probably have to, Ben Simmons would have 4 good shooters to pass it out to. You'd also have CJ McCollum on somebody like Paul George, and CJ McCollum would be giving up 5 inches in that matchup, so you could do the same thing where you could post up Paul George. Paul George isn't really got to post up that much, but if he has a 5-inch advantage, he's definitely skilled enough to go to work in the low post, and he is a good enough passer to dish out of there as well. While they could play fast and would probably get a lot of fast break points with Ben Simmons leading the charge, they could definitely slow it down and just grind teams and just beat up their guards in the post with Ben Simmons and Paul George. Honestly, if we're saying Al-Farouq Aminu, who's 6'8" and a good defender, is starting as small forward for the Blazers, I'd probably put him on Paul George or Ben Simmons and put one of the smaller guards on Robert Covington, because Robert Covington would be the least skilled out of the 5, but Robert Covington's still an athletic 6'9", and one of the guards would still be stuck on Paul George or Ben Simmons. This is just to illustrate the type of problem that this huge lineup would cause opposing teams for the Philadelphia 76ers and why I want to see it happen. I guess you would call it large ball. That does not roll off the tongue at all. You'd have to come up with a better name than that. Shit, man. Small ball. Small ball sounds good. Small ball has been rolling off the tongue for a few seasons now. But large ball, big ball, call it big ball, bully ball, something like that. That's what the Philadelphia 76ers could invent if they signed Paul George. They will have the cap space, and I do think they are the best option for Paul George in terms of contending for a championship. Now, in this situation, I haven't talked about Markelle Fultz, and I do think he's going to be a very good NBA guard. Definitely going to be a good scorer. You'd have him as the 6th man off the bench in this scenario, so he could come in and play point guard, and he's still 6'4" and pretty big guard, so you could still play a pretty big lineup with him in the game for Simmons or Paul George. Let me know what you guys think about this and the possibility of Paul George signing with the Philadelphia 76ers. How cool would it be to see an NBA lineup with every player 6'9" or taller? I think that'd be pretty damn dope. Like always, hope you have an amazing day. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button if you want to. Gotta do the usual basic generic YouTube plugin of my channel and whatnot, but you know how it is. Anyways, this has been Bones, and peace out.
Ain't no secret money on my mind. Sit at my table, then you want my time. And I don't play that, I'm stunting for the payback. I'm from a Golden State, but Portland where I lay at.